When I was 4, I got saved, and now I'm a Christian. The end. Well, okay, that wasn't actually the end. Technically, it wasn't until I was in the 4th grade that I read the Chronicles of Narnia, which called me to get closer to God and pushed me to read more. And it wasn't until I was in the 8th grade that I decided I wanted to go into ministry. It wasn't until I was a freshman that my family started going to Gatlinburg and helping some people who had lost everything in the fires. It wasn't until I was a sophomore in high school that I went on a mission trip to Belize, where we provided beds and medical supplies to people who desperately needed them. It wasn't until I was a junior that I went to the Navajo reservation to provide aid to an evangelist there. And it wasn't until I was a senior that I decided to go to Ozark Christian College, where I had to give a speech in my speech class that was a testimony speech in which I said, "No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding." The point is, a lot has happened since I got saved. And you know what? I don't think my story is over quite yet. I mean, what would be the point of going to college if nothing happened afterwards? Now, I've spent some time at church camps, and I've noticed a common theme with the testimonies I've heard. Typically, it goes something like, "Oh, I killed 8 men just to watch them die, then I became the next Al Capone, stole lunch money from the devil himself, went back in time and shot Abraham Lincoln. Then I got saved and now I'm a Christian, the end." Now, first of all, I think it's fair to say that becoming a Christian doesn't automatically fix every problem you've ever had. You will get sick and you will still go through trials. So I think we need a little more of the story than "I got saved, the end." Tell us about your struggles. Tell us what changes you've noticed in your life. Show us the contrast and tell us what new challenges you were facing. Second of all, is that the end? Is becoming a Christian the end of your story? That's kind of weird. We talk about having a relationship with Jesus, but if the second we ask him into our lives, the most important part of our story is over, then are we sure that we've understood that relationship? I mean, if the best story a married couple has is the night of their wedding, then it's a pretty boring marriage. Am I saying don't talk about your struggles from before you knew Jesus? No, I am not. I am saying that you should ask yourself why they matter, in terms of your testimony and in terms of your life. The best I could tell, their service is twofold. First off, they make it clear how big of a change Christ has made in your life. Getting saved should have a dramatic effect on your life, and we can't see that if you don't tell us what your life was like before you met Christ. Secondly, those scars shape you. The pain you have gone through has uniquely shaped your life. And you can learn a lot about someone if you listen to their pains and their guilt. However, our lives do not end when our pain does. Our lives move on. And you know what? Our stories don't end when we become Christians. They don't end when we pick a career. They don't end when we get married or have kids or even when we retire. Each step in our journey is only a new beginning. Speaking of steps, let's take one more. Death is not the end of our story. To us, heaven looks like the finish line. But once the book of Revelation is over, do you think God is just going to go, "Well, that was fun. Let's do it all again next week"? Of course not. Death itself is only the door to life everlasting. The greatest story of all, when the world will be perfect and God himself will be with us in a way like never before, telling us that story and taking part in it with us. So as we tell our testimonies, never forget that the end wasn't our salvation, and that the end is yet to come.